Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back after a long break, and it couldn't be a better occasion. We're ready to recap Masterminds. One of our good friends was on there. There'll be a lot of stuff to discuss, and it's a perfect time to debrief. So, without further ado, it's time to add the rest of my crew into the stream. Let's bring Jeremy in, bring Mike in, and the man of the moment, Chandler.
Hello.
Uh, yeah, first of all, let's catch up real quick. How's everyone been?
I guess for me, it's been just busy. Semester started back up again at Hopkins like 5 weeks ago, and then just getting back into the grind of things. Theoretically, this is my senior year, so yeah, we'll see what happens after that. But I'm kind of lost myself. So,
Why just theoretically?
um, just because of how my sophomore and junior years went, I'm
Okay,
kind of sort of locked into. I either had to take full loads, so like if I can't handle it, then maybe I'll take like another semester.
got it.
Mike, it's been ages. What's new with you?
Um, it's all yeah. I mean, when you have kids, you find this. It's all kind of a blur. All of life is just this. It's a continuity. Like not. There's no distinction between days. So it feels like I just talked to you guys. Um, but it's been good. Life revolves around your children, and he turned 3 last month, and he's a real little person now, and he's talking and he's being a 3-year-old, which means that he's trying to test limits and assert his power and make his choices and have control. And it's we're older parents. This is our second marriage, and we're both older than a lot of people with a 3-year-old. So it's exhausting. As I said, I turned 50 in April. But that said, all that said, I couldn't be happier. Everything's great, and I'm happy to be part of this group, which got me through a pandemic, and it's been a happy place for me. So as always, I thank you all for being a part of my life.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we have definitely come a long way. And of course, Jeremy, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. I get married in 13 days, so
Oh
I'm
boy!
pretty excited about
Yeah,
that.
congrats.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of wedding planning and just kind of everything around that moment. Saturday after next, so I'm really looking forward to being married, and mostly looking forward to not planning the event any further. Um, you know the planning stages. I don't know how many of y'all have ever. Well, I know Mike has, but it's a lot, and it takes a lot out of you. And so I haven't really thought about much else besides that, and my daily trivia games that have kept me sane through these times. And I just am, like I said, looking forward to it. But that's been what I've been up to.
And the good thing too is a friend of mine when we years ago when he got married, he said that's when you get engaged, it's great because with at work and with friends, like fiance carries a lot more weight as an like as a reason or an excuse than girlfriend. And he said, but when
Exactly.
you get to wife, it's like a different level. sorry,
And I've
sorry.
had the epic 4 year engagement. So that's the other thing. I'm happy to finally call her my wife instead of fiance.
That'll, that'll be nice. It's a good feeling.
Looking forward
It's
to it.
it's more efficient too. It's one syllable versus three.
That's all. I was gonna say that next. He stole the words right from me right there.
Sorry.
No. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, now I think it's a good time to dive into the meat of the matter. I think we all saw Chandler on Masterminds. I mean, first of all, he obviously did better than I did. So if that
Yep.
makes you feel any better. Um, I want to start. I think this is a good place to start off. First, yeah, what time of the day did your episode film?
So I guess skipping like all the start things. My episode was the second tape that day. I don't know. I don't remember what that puts in perspective, like with the day, but I believe that I ended up getting picked up at like 1 p.m. and it took about an hour for my father to pick me up. So I'd say I got out at noon, so like 11 ish. Uh,
Wow. Oh, so it was yeah, well before lunchtime.
yeah.
Okay. And yeah, well, yeah. Any general comments about your experience?
I mean, the day got off to a great start when I woke up at 8 p.m. and I couldn't really go back to sleep. So, like, by the time I was at the studio, like, checking in, doing the COVID test, I was already on 11 hours, no sleep. So,
What time did you go into sleep to wake up at 8 p.m.?
I, no, that's a great question. I do not remember. But yeah,
I miss college.
yes.
There we go.
I guess I must have fallen asleep at like noon the day before.
Wow.
I don't. Yeah, don't be like me, guys. I'm sorry. But so day was essentially there like around 7. Got dressed, left my house, got there, did like COVID tests or everything at like 8. Talked with like a few of the people there. Uh, then after like all of us came there, we went to like this multi-purpose room, and that's where we were dressed. We were sort of like we were sort of like coached on how we do our interviews with a couple of the members of production, and I guess we all did like our 30-second speech, like what we do, like if we get to round 3, like all of us did. The producers then picked whoever they wanted to go. I ended up playing against the 2 of my opponents on that show, Lana and Steven, or I think it's Lana Banana,
Mhm.
but Lana and Steven, we did a mock game with like bells and a whiteboard. Uh, we were the second. I said this. We were the second episode that taped that day, but we ended up seeing the entirety of the first episode. Uh, that first episode ended up airing like I don't know, late August. I forget the specific date, but we were like quizzing each other and just sort of like talking with each other. And I think like it was interesting that all of us had been on a game show before. I had been on The Price is Right back in 2020. Steven was on Let's Make a Deal back in like 2016. He won some Apple appliances. Lana was on Jeopardy, and she was one of Matea Roach's earliest victims. So,
Oh
like,
no.
yeah. So that was an interesting connection we all had.
Well, I guess she redeemed herself in on
Yeah,
Masterminds, but of course, obviously in the final run, it kind of wasn't to be, I guess.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I think if I were to start with my takeaways, at least from seeing your episodes, no offense intended, but I think apart from the William Henry Harrison question,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot else could have gone differently.
Yeah, I agree. And the William Henry Harrison question was like the only question I was beating myself up on afterwards, but like I knew ultimately it didn't matter. For those of you who haven't seen my episode that may be watching in the future or whatever, there's a question essentially asking which president lasted the shortest amount of time. And for some
Mhm.
reason, my mind immediately went to the other guy who lasted only a year, and that was Garfield. But for some reason, I tapped Fillmore because I don't know. I don't know what was going on in my mind at that point. Uh, so yeah,
I mean, it, like playing games daily, that happens with zero pressure. You know, like I tap something, I mean, I think, why on earth would I have tapped that? I
yeah,
know that's not right, but so I can't imagine the pressure of being on a live stage and experiencing that. So it's bound to happen, I'm sure. So
I can't even pass a contestant exam. So
yeah,
there's that.
yeah. This is gonna sound weird, but I was actually more nervous in the pre-room, like doing like our interviews beforehand, before I was actually on stage. Reason being is because I had a friend who was at the previous day's taping that ended up getting called to the NPR but didn't actually tape that day. What ended up happening is they call like 20 people every day and they only tape 5 episodes. So that's going to be like 14 or 15 people play that day. I was just worried I wasn't going to get on. But like once I nailed that interview, once I was pretty much called up on stage, I wouldn't say the pressure was off, but I felt more comfortable knowing, oh, like, at least I'd have a story. At least I'd be on TV.
That reminds me of a general comment I was going to make. The Chandler that was on Masterminds is not the Chandler we know
Not?
at all. That the level of what's the word I want to use? Just this boisterousness that you showed up there was clearly that was coaching, wasn't it?
No, that wasn't. Like, the only thing that was really coached was like us saying our interview. So like, oh, I did Vex Robotics. They cut it out Vex Robotics because that's a brand name, despite me asking them specifically, can I shout them out? But like, they coached us on that interview. So that 30-second like interview, like when Brooke's like, oh, here, let's meet our contestants. That's coached. What also is coached, like right before we got on, it's like, oh, if you win the 10 grand, what are you gonna win? What are you gonna do with it? They did coach us on that very quickly before we got on stage. Me messing around, just going like, hey, that's me. I just decided, I've seen a lot of GSN shows. I've seen a lot of people just be there, say hi. I kind of want to be remembered. I kind of want to goof. I wouldn't say goof off a bit, but it's not like that was going to throw off my trivia, so I might as well be more expressive than normal.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
You were. It worked.
And it probably took the edge off for you too, just to sort of be big and boisterous and funny and silly, goofy for a moment. Kind of probably got, if there were any nerves, and that helped.
Yeah, I think like playing into that like made me I feel even calmer on stage, which I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mike. Well, are you interested in trying out for a game show? I mean, two of us have already done it. I'm sure you do nicely.
I don't. It's after you seeing you and Chandler, it has crossed my mind, and then I think Brian had also was asked to participate. I don't remember how it works, but he passed the test and they asked him to come in, but he opted out.
Yeah.
So it's something that I've been thinking about. It's hard to make that commitment right now, time wise. But in the games that I haven't watched that many episodes, but in the ones that I've watched, your episode and Chandler's and a couple of others, I feel like I would fare okay. At least in the comfort of my home, I felt that way. So it's something that I've thought about. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted. I'm making no promises.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it's definitely seeing you do it and have a good time. It does seem like it would be fun and a good experience.
I mean, not my greatest time, but I'd happily do it all over again. I mean, in fact, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but well, yeah, one of the guys I met there, I didn't play against him, thank God. But yeah, he finished. Well, I think he lost on Jeopardy once. Then he came back to the second chance tournament. I don't know if the name David Maybury rings a bell.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's to me.
but yeah, I did meet him, and he did go on to win the 10 grand once, but I don't think he defended his title. But even then, just to make it all the way and win the 10 grand it's a tremendous achievement because the masterminds, they have such a broad width of general knowledge, and only rarely do you get a chance to stump them and successfully do so.
Jeremy, what about you? Would you ever consider?
I would love to get on a game show. It's a matter of me being able to, one, get to some of these places since I'm in Texas. There's been a big, especially with Jeopardy, there's been a controversy about the second and third place prize money because a lot of people were complaining like, oh, I flew halfway across the country and got like third place and I didn't make the money back, that would be a real issue.
For what it's worth, you finish.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, for what it's worth, they did up the prize amounts this season, so it's 2,000, 3,000 instead of 1,000, 2,000.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so I was thinking about like, what if I made it on like a GSN show and totally tanked? Like, I don't think they give anything to their second and third place people. So that would be the one thing that would keep me from possibly appearing. but I would love to know that I had the opportunity.
Right.
That would be my badge of honor.
And even in Jeopardy, they've upped the losers consolation prizes to two grand and 3 grand. I think we've all noticed that, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the WGA strike, they finally reached some sort of temporary common ground. So I think a lot of shows are like expected to get back to normal. But yeah, what do you guys make of the second chance for like a lot of contestants from previous seasons?
I've enjoyed the tournaments so far. You're talking about Jeopardy, I
Yeah,
assume.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the tournaments so far. I think it's been really interesting. I haven't, since the whole Alex dying happened, I haven't watched as much of Jeopardy. So I
Hmm.
haven't seen these contestants in their original runs very much, only bits and pieces, mainly because I have really wanted them to stick with one host. I don't care which one at this point. And now it looks like because of everything that had happened, they almost were sticking with one host. Um, and it's just been too much flipping around for me. But I've really enjoyed these tournaments because I'm getting to see people that were sadly, taken down by these behemoth contestants because they had like what 5, 6 contestants that ran like 20 or more game streaks. Um, and that's where most of these second chance contestants are coming from, those runs, aren't they?
Yeah, and if
So
we
I mean,
take
that's
if we
been
take
really
David as an example, the guy literally that runs like Jeopardy for like for fun, like like he's asked me on multiple occasions to join in his game because he's beta testing a lot of different features on the same Jeopardy thing that we tried to do the other day.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind doing
Yeah,
that again.
yeah. We should do it for sure next time around.
Yeah.
Oh, Chandler, were you about to say something?
I was gonna say, in light of what happened, that they're reusing some clues, reusing like old clues for Jeopardy. I'm fine with them, like doing the second chance wild card thing. At the same time, it's sounding like that we're gonna be in second chance and wild card tournaments up until like February, which I don't know. It-
Really? Oh,
Hmm.
I
Um,
didn't realize that. I thought they were done after this current one.
no, after this current one, they're gonna do 4 batches of wild card tournaments where they bring the winners of the second chance tournament and all the 1-3 winners from seasons 37, 38. And they're gonna
hmm.
do 4 mini tournaments, and the winner of those 4 mini tournaments goes to the tournament of champions. But I've also
Oh,
heard they're then gonna do it a second chance for season 39 and more wild cards for season 39. So they're gonna do it again, and then they're gonna do the tournament of champions. So I don't
so
know.
like regular like new contestants have no shot until like months from now. That's awful.
Yeah,
Um,
in fact, it took the anytime test like not too long ago, and then yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
you know, we'll see what happens.
All bets are off.
I've been following like who won, but I haven't been watching every day. I'll admit.
Yeah, I'm behind
Yeah,
by like 3 episodes, but yeah, I just try to stay in the loop as often as I
yeah,
can.
that's fair.
Oh yeah, Chandler, did you see any other Jeopardy ex contestants on your filming day? I know I saw I think 4 or 5 former Jeopardy players.
The only one I know for sure was on Jeopardy, I believe the guy who taped before me. I believe his. I'd need to look it up. Hold on. Yeah, his name was Dave. Uh, I believe what he did. He was on Masterminds on like August 25th, or that's when it aired. I believe he said he was on 13 or 14 different game shows, and he was on Jeopardy of the 90s or something.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
That's the only one I know for sure was on Jeopardy. Like a couple others were talking about, like, oh, my wife was on Power of 10, or oh, or I was on like Scrabble, I believe. one of them was, but
Wait, Power of 10? That's a pretty
yeah,
it's a
that's a deep cut.
throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what Drew Carey was hosting prior to him getting the
Yes.
Price is Right gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I don't know if you saw the who's I think everyone's been keeping up in the loop with masterminds to some extent. You guys saw John Rhodes, right? He won twice.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he became a mastermind, he was really struggling. But even then, just to make it to the other side, it's unbelievable. Then I
Yeah, I
think
wonder if they're going to
Cliff.
call him back.
Yeah, I don't know, probably not. But remember Cliff from last season?
Yeah. I
Cliff?
know. I was aware he came back for one game this
Yeah,
season.
he was a mastermind, and I think he made it all the way to the final round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like as difficult as it might be, it's still like it's very much possible. Like if you know all the right things, and if luck helps you along the way, you could make it to the other side. I hope.
Trivia is easy if you know the answers.
True. In fact, I think they should have like a second chance event for masterminds. I'd love to have a chance to redeem myself at some stage.
Chandler, did you prepare specifically for this event, or just come in? Or were there areas that you thought I ought to read a bit about this before I go in there, or you just come in cold?
Okay, so admittedly the timeline was I applied back in late April, took like my audition call, or I applied back in late April and I did like that in person that test also. I got an audition like early May. Then like I don't know, mid to late May I got like an email saying, "Oh, what days are you going to be available?" I clicked all of them just
Nice.
because like I'm free this summer. I'm just a student. All of them just for the sake of having more chances. And then I got a phone call saying, "Oh, you're going to be on what what was it, the 16th, June 16th." So I had like 3 or 4 weeks. I'll admit that I ran through like more J Archive games, and I was like playing like I don't know, like 5 to 10 games a day, just to more like get myself experienced or more acquainted with material in general. But besides that, I didn't like spend all day studying because I figured I just don't have enough time in 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And were there any questions that came up during the on the game that was something that you recently learned or came upon that you're like, oh, I'm glad I did. No, okay. I always have that dream that'll happen. Like, yes, I just read this.
Like closest thing I guess was I did make sure to refresh myself on some world capitals and some state capitals that did come up in the speed round. Like knowing the capital of Nevada. But aside from that, not really.
Oh yeah, I saw the question. Yeah, Kit Carson. Yep.
I couldn't have told you his first name, so I'm glad they took last names.
Mhm. Yeah, there's almost similar to Jeopardy. Like if you say just a surname, it's generally good enough, unless if it's like Johnson or something. Like then they're gonna ask you. Then they're gonna ask you to specify.
Yeah, and I made sure to like ask that during our mock game also. If abbreviations were fine, because like one of the answers to one of the mock questions was Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
So I was just like, could I just write PA and just be done with it? And they
Hmm.
like, okay,
Or like
sure.
CO2, for example,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you don't have to write out carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I could just try to go through like the day of the game. Oh, one thing I remembered is they do play sound effects or like the music in post. So like during the first game when we were watching on TV, we did hear like the music going on backstage. But when we were on the actual stage, I don't believe there were any sound effects. There might have been the incorrect sound and maybe the sound of the buzzer, but I don't remember like music playing.
Hmm.
Um,
And then wait,
What's your
were you
opinion
like?
on masterminds? Sorry, at the end, the final round in Masterminds, however, when they read the question and it's like they give the point value every time a new question comes up. What if they eliminated that part and just read the questions? Don't you think that would be a more efficient way of?
So what they do is they actually play the bonus round. They read 4 questions, and then they stop tape and they re-ask those questions in like an order that makes it more suspenseful. For instance, in our game, I believe Lana's final question was the Mount Rushmore question. Her first question was Brazil, but I believe because of the order they shuffled, I believe it was Brazil, then the news interviewer, then the Christmas tree question, then the Mount Rushmore question. On broadcast, I believe they shuffled it to the Brazil question, then the. I'd need to check again, but that was not the order. They
Oh,
did the
that's
questions.
fascinating.
So
I've
yeah,
wondered how
yeah.
come it always ends up that way. Seems like it always comes down to that final one.
yes, and that's on purpose.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, the final round they don't play it in the order of the questions you were asked like on set. It's shuffled up to produce like maximum amount of suspense. And yeah, I think in the final round I only knew like 2 of those, and yeah, those were pretty hard questions.
Yeah. Bonus round, I'll admit I did just playing on in the audience. I did just as well as Lana.
Oh, you guys, oh wait, where were you sitting once you got out?
We were there was like an audience of like 10 people off to the side that you
Okay.
could see in some of the zoom in shots
Mm-hmm.
of the season. We were seated like behind them, so we wouldn't be on camera, but we still saw the final round. Me and Steven. And we were like whispering with each other like what we thought the answers were. But yeah, I would have only gotten the Rushmore, and after some thought, the Brazil question, I had no clue like what artificial Christmas trees were made of, or I just don't follow news anchors, so I couldn't. So maybe I could have known the Katie Couric question, like had I been paying attention during the Jeopardy guest host thing, but like I wasn't.
But during your round 1 and 2, did you apart from the very end, did you only get the Harrison question wrong? Was there one?
I believe I had 400 points going into round 2, so that would have meant I missed 3 questions.
Maybe I was.
I have it pulled up. I can just read through the questions right now.
I'm just curious. I just remember being really impressed and thinking you did really well. So I was.
Round 1 in the classic 70s Paul Simon song. What was one of the 50 ways to leave your lover?
Right.
That was a funny question, icebreaker.
That was one I could kind of intuitively figure
Yeah.
out. Like I knew 2 that just simply flat out didn't make any sense.
Yeah, like faxing wouldn't be in the 70s. Ignoring her text directs wouldn't be in the 70s, so hop on the bus, Gus. Then was the U.S. history question. That happened. Me and Steven missed it, or Steven and I missed it. Everyone else got it. Question 3, tech. In the heart of Silicon Valley, there's a life-size statue of Tesla that emits what? Tesla's an electricity guy. I've heard this before. I couldn't tell you where, but I've heard of this statue before. So, like, I knew it was Wi-Fi. Parenting, which one of these involves prolonged skin-to-skin contact? Kitten care, Kodiak care, or kangaroo care? They're being cute with all K animals. I've heard of kangaroo care somewhere else. Events. To raise money for charity with over 2,500 women at a beach in Wicklow, Ireland. They broke the record for the world's largest what? Sandcastle, limbo contest, or skinny dip? I didn't know this. I didn't think they would ask a question about skinny dipping on GSN. So I'm surprised. But it was skinny dipping. I believe I guessed limbo contest because...
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. None of us on the civilian side got it right, but I believe all the masterminds played
Mhm.
perfectly until the last multiple choice question or the last fill in the blank question. So
Yeah, I was thinking skinny dip as well. I mean, it was just the answer that came to mind. I wouldn't say I was like absolutely certain that this is it, but yeah.
yeah, again, I was metagaming that JSN kind of wants to be family friendly. I
Right.
thought skinny dipping
Mhm.
was a little too risque, but oh well. So that was the second question I missed. Sports, which Hollywood star was the co-owner of Wrexham,
Oh
Gosling,
yeah.
Reynolds, or Seacrest? I know about Reynolds' expenditures from like Mint Mobile. Uh, he had a whiskey brand for a while, also, or some sort of hard liquor brand. Also, I figured that sounded like a thing Ryan Reynolds would own. Then the final question was, what class of condiment is rejected at the factory if it doesn't exit at exactly 0.028 miles per hour? Um, yeah, that's one you either know or you don't. I guessed Hershey's syrup just because I had Psycho in the mind and was thinking, okay, maybe it's like a consistent thing. Maybe like that's why Hitchcock picked it. No, it was just Heinz ketchup.
I actually didn't know that fact about Heinz ketchup, but
Yeah.
I think I knew the Hershey's syrup. That's too viscous to. It's going to take longer than that to flow out of the container. So it was, kind of a 50-50 coin flip, and yeah.
Yeah. That's what I found in all my condiment viscosity tests.
So whatever. End of round one.
0.27 miles is too slow.
Miles per hour. I don't know how to measure. Okay. For what it's worth, technically, I guess I could have worked it out because like they
That's
do
like us
say in
1 centimeter per second. I just yeah, I
okay.
just did a quick conversion. But yeah, that's fair. That's fairly slow.
Pretty slow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, I know they said in the rules that you only have like 30 seconds to lock in an answer or everything. That's just to keep the game going. I
Hmm.
totally believed if I needed time to like think about it, they would have given it to me as long as I wasn't taking like 5 minutes or something.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know if any of you remember, but remember the millionaire contestant like during Regis's time. Her name was like Katie. I forget her last name, but rumor has it that she spent almost like an hour on set deliberating on just one question. Remember, she
Yeah,
lost in
I've
like
heard
a
of that.
$100
yeah.
question?
You really have
Uh,
that much time?
Technically, yeah, and
Oh.
yeah, and the other rumor is that Regis was like really running out of patience. Yeah. I think I remember the question. It was like, which of these countries is the most recent member of the UN? And I think it was Tonga, Palau, American Samoa, and I forget the last answer. But yeah, the funny thing was she had the right answer, and then she talked herself out of it, and then she locked in the wrong answer,
Ugh.
and she fell down from $250,000 all the way down to 32,000.
Oh,
Hmm,
that's tough.
that is rough.
But there are all kinds of like weird, fascinating stories from game shows. I mean, yeah, yeah, that was a crazy one.
But that's so that I never knew that fact though. So Chandler, on the show, it flows pretty quickly. You know, when you write in your answers, it's like I'm always amazed that everyone writes an answer in like
No, they
5
edited
seconds.
in. If
But
I hold on, let me see if I could pull up the episode. They edited in so that we finish at about the same time.
that's interesting. Okay.
Like if you look carefully, like there was this one like egregious edit that you could see like okay, they clearly spliced in something.
Okay. I never look carefully.
Yeah.
Are you trying to share your screen or
I'm trying to pull up like the frame.
got it? Okay.
So I guess just like here, like you can see that's miraculously like the beast podium has shrunk, and like the beast. If you look at like the background, like it's not one continuous shot. Like you could if you look closely, you can see like it's edited. Like the shadows don't match up either. But
Oh, interesting. Okay.
uh,
What I do know is sometimes, like on Jeopardy, relatively shorter contestants, they stand on a pedestal, like to kind of even out the heights.
Hmm.
Of
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen that one before. I mean, I think they used to do that a lot in the teen tournament and Kids Week when it used to air, like before I think 2010.
yeah. So speaking of round two, like if you've never seen an episode of Masterminds before, if you're watching this, I'd be surprised. But round one is multiple choice. You're given three choices. You have to select one. Round two is a free response. Essentially, they give a question. Yeah, you have to write down an answer. Um, and what really got me through this round is there's this term in like mostly heard it in Jeopardy circles, but like I've heard it in quizzing circles as well. It's called the tease out metric, or TOM for short. But it's essentially you might not know purely what the correct response to the question from the facts, but the way they word the question gives you an extra hint into like what they're looking for. So I believe the first question was, oh they oh Bobby didn't get the exact wording of the question. That's actually kind of interesting because the way it was worded actually saved me. I'm gonna present the screenshot from the video again. The first question was: this may be an unimportant fact, but what word comes from the Latin for the place where three roads meet?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that is
I knew that
that was
because
one that
they
I
said
did know.
Yeah, but the reason I got this is I somehow remembered this. This wasn't from a game that like I played, but I remembered this daily double from like 2015 somehow. I don't know how this came to mind, but it starts out the same way. Those useless little facts will pay off if you remember the goddess for crossroads or whatever, and like it's trivia clearly. So that term was able to help me tease out the correct answer and get that question right when I wouldn't have been able to connect try, or I might have been able to connect try and via, but
Hmm.
I don't
Right.
know if I would have done that at time. I believe taping stopped here, like the only time it did during our game, because Steven ended up writing tree Riem, like Riem as like an atrium or something.
Probably,
So
yeah.
I believe they asked him to clarify what he meant because if he wrote trivium, they might have had to give it to him. But
Hmm.
Hmm.
he clarified he wrote trivium, and he was marked wrong. Uh, then the next question was geology. Armalcolite was a new rare material discovered on the moon and named for the astronauts on a what NASA mission? Okay, so let's run through the NASA missions that got to the moon. 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. It starts with ARM. That's probably Armstrong. Apollo 11. Done.
Hmm.
uh, we all got that. Next one. The name of what type of tea comes from the Chinese phrase meaning black dragon? I didn't know this, but out of all the weird things that helped me here, there was a animated cartoon like when I was growing up on Disney called Jake Long American Dragon. So I figured, okay, maybe long is a word for dragon. What tea has the word long in it? Oolong, maybe.
Hmm.
That ended up being right.
Nice.
uh, Question 4, religion. Princess Yashodhara was the wife of what religious teacher when he left home to pursue enlightenment? I did not know the Buddha was married at one point. I just guessed someone who would be an enlightenment figure. I was surprised Steven missed that. If you see my face, like I was surprised because like I knew when Steven missed that, he was mathematically eliminated. So I knew I was going on to the next round. Like the moment, I guess we can't see like the screens like you see it at home, but there's like essentially a screen on the. We see a screen that's just black and white text with essentially just a question, the category of the question, and then to the left are our scores, to the right are the mastermind scores.
Mhm.
So just that's how we're able to like keep track of
Yeah,
scores and
there's like a big
numbers.
screen, and yeah, that's also where like the question and stuff is displayed, and you get to see the three answer choices on your personal screen,
Oh, and I
right?
guess yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. But
I mean,
yeah,
that's how it was for me when I was there. So I wouldn't imagine too many things have changed. Maybe apart from the fact that I mean there was like a lot of COVID related precautionary measures that were taken. I guess it was to a lesser extent for
we
you.
still had to get COVID tested that day, but
Okay.
we weren't like distanced. We were able to like talk with each other. They had
Mm-hmm.
like food. We were able to like eat and drink together in the
Mm-hmm.
NPR. Um, yeah. And then final question: what alien's real name was going to be Zarak in a canceled sequel? I just
Mm-hmm.
guessed an alien. The reason I know that they aren't strict on the timer was Muffy wrote in something for that question right away. Ryan and the Beats took like a minute and a half to write anything, like enough for Brooke to like hum through the entirety of the Jeopardy theme song, like that
Mm-hmm.
do 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 the theme music. Um, so that's why you see that edit. Was because like Ryan and the Beats took forever on that question. Tiebreaker question. Yeah, that was kind of funny. Uh, like Brooke saying, "What? No, no beast or
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah, I saw that.
That was funny. So after round two, I guess we said goodbye to Steven. We shook hands. You saw, and then we come to round three. I guess
Mm-hmm. Wait, do you get to buzz while she's reading the question, or you have to wait for her to finish? I know this is a dumb question.
there's a locking mechanism. They unlock the buzzers when she's done reading.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, Jeopardy, it's a little different. Like, if you lock in before the clue has been read out, you get locked out for
quarter of a second.
0.25
I don't
seconds.
believe they
Yeah.
have a lockout system.
Okay.
I don't believe you get penalized for ringing in early or too
Mm-hmm.
early. I don't believe so. The rules didn't say anything about it. It didn't sound like it. Could be wrong, but yeah. So I believe I forget the exact scores going into like round three, but I know it's just trailing Lana by like 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah. This is dumb thing that was coming to mind at that moment was there's this book called Secrets of the Buzzer written by like a guy that's well known and recommended within the Jeopardy community. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't bother buying it on digital or reading it because like I figured I'm not even gonna make it past the first round. Well, I made it past the first round, so now I'm kind of kicking myself. I believe,
Congratulations, you beat
yeah,
your own expectations.
yes. I believe what he recommends. I'm gonna stand up for this, and what I did. Someone can clarify, or someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but my charger cord was locked in. What he suggests is holding the buzzer down like this, like with your arms down. That way, there's less stress on your body. There's less
Mm-hmm.
stress on your arms instead of like you're going like
Hmm.
this. So if you see me that like that's why I'm like standing like this the entire time. It's not because I had to pee. It's because I just. It's just because it's less pressure on my arms. I figured
Mm-hmm.
maybe
I
that
mean,
would
you
put
did
me.
have to pee. It just wasn't because of that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I chugged like 3 water bottles before I went on stage. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you were hopping because you had to pee, but
Yes,
you were holding your
obviously.
hands there for the buzzer.
Yes.
Now you chugged 3 water bottles before you went on set. I chugged 2 freaking cold brews
Yeah.
like right when I got there. You have no idea. Like when I got there, I was like literally anything that's going to keep me going for the rest of the day, because God knows when I'm going to get called up. And turns out mine was a penultimate episode of that day.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate to just get in, because I think at the end there were like 2 or 3 people that didn't even get called up, and they got like reimbursed uh, something. I don't remember how much.
They got reimbursed.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they weren't going to be able to accommodate everybody on that last film day.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird because like my friend that I talked about didn't tape the previous day. I don't believe he left with anything.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay.
so maybe something changed in the casting. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
guess going through the speed round. Question one: the provocator was what type of armed combatant who entertained crowds in ancient Rome? There's a great second of both of us just not ringing in before I decide. You know what? Let's just guess something. I guess gladiator ended
Mhm.
up being right. Lana ends up getting the next two questions. What type of tomato is named for a purple fruit? Didn't know that.
I thought it was
Don't.
grape. I mean, when I go to like Blaze Pizza, I get grape tomatoes on my pizza. I was gonna say grape, but yeah, that's probably wrong.
You know, maybe they would have taken grape, but they also clued in that it's primarily used for making sauces. And grape
Hmm.
tomatoes are kind of small, so
Yeah.
if you want to make a sauce out of them, you've got to use a lot. Uh, but maybe you could argue it because like they're sweeter, so maybe there's more sugar. But there's
Hmm.
that. Then what film starring Matt Damon follows the origin of Michael Jordan's basketball shoe line for Nike? I
Air.
believe I buzzed in here also. I didn't know the film, but I figured Air Jordans. It's got to be Air if they're specifically not saying Air in this question.
Hmm.
Lana got that. That ended up being right. The state capital of Nevada was named for what American frontiersman who guided John C. Fremont's Western expeditions? Been to Las Vegas a lot. I know it's Carson City. Ring in, Kit Carson. And then there's like a solid 20 seconds of us standing around not knowing anything. What golden spring flower with a trumpet shaped center is the national flower of Wales? I just could not visualize like the trumpet center at all in time, but it was a daffodil. And then at the end of the 20th century, what historical women's college officially merged with Harvard? I've heard of this. You could hear me like wincing that I should know this. Because like I'm kind of close to Harvard.
I didn't know this one either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember it. Then a cover of Higher Ground from Stevie Wonder was the first major radio hit for what Anthony Kiedis led rock band.
Red
I,
Hot
I
Chili Peppers.
yeah,
Yep.
Michael can attest that I'm a lost cause when it comes to pop music and learning it. Um, so I didn't buzz in. Then Captain Wilder led an expedition to a nearby planet. What 1950 science fiction book? I figured, okay, mathematically, I have to ring into this question to have a chance of survival. I figured the planet was Mars, but I didn't. I didn't have the book in time. So like, maybe if I'd buzzed in and like yelled the Martian Chronicles and like immediately, maybe I could have gotten away with a tie. But I just didn't know it. I had no regrets really.
Yeah, the Martian Chronicles. I don't think I knew that one either. I mean, I do like some sci-fi, but I'm really not that much of a book reader in the first place.
Yeah. So that was it. They ended up when you get eliminated, they take off your microphone, they give it to whoever's going to be standing in your position for the
Hmm.
next show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
I mean, I'm going through the Masterminds buzzer around at the moment, and yeah, I think looking at, I knew Istanbul, I knew Aeneas, I knew Kristen Barnard, I knew Marlowe, and I knew Doritos. But I think, yeah, the others, I don't think I would have got those.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I was checked out at this point, so I didn't. I don't remember a single thing from the Masterminds round, other than I don't know Ryan winning at the last second with the last
Hmm.
question, like celebrating. Like that's the only thing I remember from taping day.
Hmm.
But otherwise, we were eliminated. We taped. Uh, uh, Steve and I were in the audience, as we said. I've talked about the ultimate trivia challenge already. Lana lost, but she got another
Hmm.
$1,000. Then we were escorted back to the room where we all were. There were only like a couple people left in the uh, staying there when we got back. So maybe like they had already put the people for game 3 on stage and loaded up the people for game 4, and that was only the people who were for game 5 left
Hmm.
in the waiting room. I guess I grabbed the clothes that I brought because they tell you to bring like 5 combinations of clothes just so that they have choices to have something vibrant on the screen.
Hmm.
So I grabbed my clothes. I got my Subway because they offered Subway to everyone. And yeah,
But yeah, I had Subway as well. I mean, again, as I said, like there's very little that's changed.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Hold on, I'm looking really quickly if I can get it onto my computer in like a minute or something. But Lana ended up staying behind, filling out paperwork because she actually won something.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
it's standard practice. I mean, it's more than 600, so it's gonna get it's gonna be
yeah,
subject to the 1099.
Yep.
I mean, I can tell from my experiences at Tally Up. So I mean, as soon as I did hit cash out, I got yeah the I got the I got the dreaded email.
yeah. I've only had to fill that out for Joyride out of all people.
Not even for HQ.
No, no.
Okay.
Surprisingly, no. Not even when like they were doing VIP. I'm pretty sure I got 600 in 1 year because of like VIP tickets.
Mhm.
But they didn't ever send me anything. So maybe I committed tax fraud. But uh, yeah. So just we were escorted out. I have this. I have this like picture of me and Steven. Like we talked for a little bit, like outside the studio. Is my screen sharing?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
There we go.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a picture of him outside of like Radford Studios, just
Yeah.
a selfie.
Nice.
We met, and that's pretty much it.
Very cool.
Like I guess my last contact is like Lana ended up being in Disney World when her episode aired, so I ended up sending a copy of my episode to her like a couple days ago. But
Oh,
besides that,
sweet.
yeah,
Nice.
Okay. Or maybe we could get them both on a show later
yeah,
at a later stage. I mean, just like how I got Beth to join us.
Lana.
Yeah.
I keep saying her name wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is a good time to wrap up things. We can go around the room, closing comments. Mike, you want to start off, and then Chandler, then Jeremy, then myself.
Sure. So, thanks for putting this together, Abai. This is great. It's always fun talking with you all. And Chandler, super impressed with your performance. I'm really proud of you. Every time we see one of these, one of our friends on a show, I'm always I'm glowing with pride that like I know that guy or woman. And so maybe I've been inspired by your performance to give it a try. But as I said earlier, more to come on that. Don't hold me to it, but
That's fair.
it's definitely not off the table. Thank you all for the time. I enjoyed it. Hope folks enjoyed watching this.
Of course. Chandler, any comments?
For Chi's response, yeah, I said I was working on a combat robot. My plan for that was essentially to build a 3-pound beetle weight. There's an event used to be called Norwalk Havoc Robot League or something. But I think they've rebranded to National because they now have events in Los Angeles. But I was planning on building like a 3-pound beetle weight because my plans had been I was planning to go back to Hopkins to take a couple classes over the summer.
Hmm.
Just unfortunately, those classes got canceled, so
Oh
I
no.
ended up just
Yeah.
staying in California for the rest of the summer. Ended up breaking my arm like 2 weeks before the semester began, so I haven't really been working on that. Still healing. You wouldn't be able to tell that it's this arm that I broke, but like it still hurts if I try to like twist it all the way. So. But yeah, Masterminds was fun. If you're on the fence of applying to a GSN show, if you're in the SoCal area, I'd say do it. Like you only have like a day to lose.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I just wanted to have fun, and I had fun. I'm glad you guys thought I had fun, just based on how I kept myself on camera. Yeah, I wouldn't be here without like a guy like insisting, "Oh, you should apply," because I wouldn't have applied for it had it not been for that. So thank you, Abai, for that.
There you go.
Otherwise, just, I guess it's great talking about it. Thank you so much.
Jeremy, it's your turn.
Well, Chandler, I know that I, for one, and all of us are super proud of you. You did really well. I don't think you could have done just any better than what you did. You gave it your all, and we're just super proud of you, man. I feel like I don't think I could ever make it on the show. So for you to go up there and just go all the way to just about the bitter end there, I was just beaming with pride, buddy. And I look forward to seeing you on more game shows in the future.
I'm gonna be honest. Whenever I see like somebody I know on a game show, I kind of get into it. So when I saw Chandler, you're making it to round three, I was like, yeah, let's go. I mean after after that final question of round two, I kind of got into it. I stood up, I was pumping my fist. It's but yeah, it's amazing to see to see some of us killing it on a game show. Again, I want to emphasize you did better than I did for whatever it's worth. But yeah, it's always nice to catch up. It's great to see Mike back after a long hiatus, I should say.
Has it been that long? I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, time flies when we're having fun, and yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. It's great to have everyone on board, and it's time for time for the after party, I guess. So for those of you who are tuning in, thanks for the attention, thanks for everything, and have a good rest of your day.
Let's see ya.